Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Daily Nation newspaper has an interesting headline today. I want us to look at that headline. Why is he still in office? Question mark. And if you study that headline, it has a photo of the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto. And that photo alone also has a message. So in this video today, I want to try and answer why William Samoei Ruto is still in office. Why Ruto cannot resign. But before we do that, I know it's a signature tune now. If you're watching this video for the first time, just click that subscribe button now. Subscribers, I want to thank you guys for your support. Very happy with it. William Ruto is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And if there is one individual who has actually benefited from the 2010 Constitution, then that man is none other than the Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Without that new Constitution, President Uhuru Kenyatta would have kicked out, would have fired William Ruto long time ago. But is protected in the Constitution. Article 150 of our Constitution clearly defines the conditions under which the Deputy President might be removed. Number one, Article 150A says on the ground of physical or mental incapacity to perform the functions of the office. So William Ruto is sound, so therefore he cannot be removed on those grounds. Number two, impeachment. William Ruto can be impeached. And the grounds are three. He can be impeached on the ground of gross violation of the provisions of this Constitution or any other law. Number two, where there are serious reasons to believe that the Deputy President has committed a crime under national or international law. Probably this is where you should look at the sentiments by Stanley Livondo. Number three is gross misconduct, maybe insubordination and the rest. But impeachment process is not an easy thing. Our members of parliament are hungry. You can easily compromise them. Or number two, the provision of Article 144 and 145 relating to the removal of the president shall apply. But the question is, can William Ruto resign? William Ruto cannot resign. And President Uhuru Kenyatta and Jubilee government and the deep state have always tried so hard to force the Deputy President to resign. Despite those attempts, the Deputy President has failed to resign. Let me just demonstrate to you the attempts which these guys have made before. If you follow the politics, the first attempt, if you follow the politics of this country, there was that executive order number 1 of the Constitution. Executive order number 1, which was issued by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019. That executive order removed all the powers the Deputy President used to enjoy. And those powers were transferred to Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Basically, it meant that Okengo Matiang'i now became the kind of Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. So all the functions which the Deputy President used to do were transferred to Fred Matiang'i. The idea behind doing that was to make William Ruto angry, provoke him, so that he could resign. He failed to resign. And I remember Kipchumba Murkomen taking this to the ground, explaining why Ruto should not resign and why people should not be demanding Ruto to do some other things. Listening to Kipchumba Murkomen at that time.
Kama amwezi kuheshimu ofisi ya Deputy President ambaye alifanya president kuwa president kwa kuomba kura pamoja, kama hamna heshima na hiyo ofisi, kama hiyo ofisi mpaka saa hii haijapewa kazi, kwamba kazi yake ni hii na hii na hii, kama portfolio has not been created ya Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, mtawezaje kuheshimu a Prime Minister ambaye ni appointee ya President? Kama nyinyi mnaona kweli ni heri tukue na viti vingi kwa Kenya, Tuanze kwanza kuheshimu ofisi ya naibu wa rais, na tupatie kazi hiyo ofisi ya naibu wa rais, apewe defined responsibilities kwanza, kabla nyinyi hamjakuja kusema tuongeze vitu vingine. Kwa sababu saa hizi naibu wa rais, ukiuliza mtu kazi ya naibu wa rais aswa ni nini na amepewa ofisi ya kufanya jukumu gani, kwa sababu kuna watu wengi wanasema William Ruto ameenda kufungua barabara, ameenda kufungua shule, ameenda kufanya mchango. Haya, mulitaka asifanye hiyo, ndio afanye nini? Yeah, tell us exactly what does he supposed to do? Those who are castigating the deputy president, that he has gone out there to open roads, to fundraise for churches, to open technical institutions, to fundraise for schools. Can you tell us what has the cabinet since 2013 determined as the functions of the deputy president? Once you answer that question, we will be able to answer why he is not able to do that job that has been given to him. Because vice president wa zamani walikuwa ni chairman ya cabinet subcommittees. Lakini tangu 2013 we've never had William Ruto amechair hata subcommittee ile ya anything kwa cabinet.
So that was the first attempt. And then later on, there was the second attempt, which also failed. When this gentleman decided to remove all allies of the deputy president from Jubilee Party and from parliamentary leadership. All his allies were removed from Jubilee. And the idea behind that was to force Ruto to also resign from Jubilee. And the moment William Ruto was going to fall for the bait, he was going to resign, and someone was going to institute legal proceeding, because by that time then he would not be a member of Jubilee Party. So that also failed to take off. Then he went to parliament. The president engineered the removal of all his allies. Susan Kihika, Ben Washali, talk of Eden Duale, talk of all his allies were removed from parliamentary leadership. Again, the deputy president did not resign. Then there was another attempt when the deputy president was actually stopped from holding meetings at Jubilee Party headquarters. If you remember, there was a time William Ruto led his brigades to Jubilee Party headquarters. They held a meeting there. Nobody was there. That was the last time the deputy president went to Jubilee Party headquarters, because after that, Raphael Tuju warned him against going there. In fact, from that moment, that's when now the DP opened that office, the first UDA office, what he was calling the Hustlers Center. So that was another attempt which failed. And the last attempt was actually by President Uhuru Kenyatta, when the president for the first time directly challenged his deputy to resign.
I have an agenda that I was elected on, and that work must continue. And it would be really the honorable thing that if you are not happy with it, right, that you would actually, step aside and allow those who want to move on, and then take your agenda to the people, which is what happens in any normal, democracy, because you can't have your cake and eat it, yeah? You can't on the one hand say, I'm not going, and because at the same time, I don't agree. You've got to decide, because you must be principled in that endeavor. Yeah? That's what happens in a democracy, so that you don't confuse people. On the one hand, you want to sing the praises of a government, that you are saying that yes, this is we have done, and you want to ride on them, but yet on the other side of your mouth, you're talking another language. So I don't want to say much, but like I'm saying, I will not be deviated from the agenda I have set on course. BBI was just one of them. We still have also the big four, which we have been consistently following, and we will continue with the agenda as we have it. That will continue, and really, like I said, people know what happens when you disagree with each other in developed civilized democracies. What people do you know. And I would hope that people would have the courage and the guts to do that instead of, like I'm saying, throwing stones in the same house that you're living in.
But the deputy president also did not fall for that. He stated clearly that for him, he's a focused man. He's a man on a mission. And therefore, he was not going to resign. But do you think the deputy president can resign? Which takes us back to the Daily Nation headline. What was the objective of that headline? And what about the timing? In my view, the deputy president, Dr. Ruto, cannot resign because of the following reason. Number one, William Ruto has never operated outside power. That's the honest truth. He has always operated within power. He joined politics under KANU when he was in power. He became very powerful. The youth for KANU was a very powerful youth wing. And after that, he became a member of parliament in 1997, was made an assistant minister who was very powerful. In fact, Ruto, I think, is the only assistant minister in this country who was sitting or was sat in the cabinet. So he was so powerful at that time. Then KANU was removed in 2002. And remember, immediately KANU was removed, there was confusion in NAC. So Mwai Kibaki reached out to Uhuru Kenyatta, and William Ruto was a key ally of Uhuru Kenyatta. So they started operating. But then there was, maybe that was the only time. Then we had the 205 constitution when he joined the ODM. He was elected on ODM ticket, and we had that Nusu Mukate. He was part of government that time. Then when Raila Odinga fell out with Ruto, with Kibaki, he stayed in government. So Ruto has never operated outside government. So it will be very difficult for him. If, for example, you are expecting Ruto to resign from the office 3 years to the elections, he was not going to do that. He has never done that. Number two is the presidential powers. Let's face it, as the president, because the deputy president is actually part of the presidency, they enjoy massive powers courtesy of the constitution. There are some you can take away from him, but there are some you cannot take away from him. William Ruto, as we speak today, enjoys massive security, paid for by taxpayers' money. That one you cannot take away from him, even if you are fighting physically. You can't take away from that. That's guaranteed in the constitution. The office of the deputy president is well budgeted for. Money running into billions. So he cannot leave that. That office alone has power. So there are people who are dreaming of going to the office of the deputy president, people who are dreaming of going to the official residence of the DP just for the power. If Ruto did not have such powers, I'm sure even the delegation heading to Karen would reduce. So that's the truth. So those powers which he's enjoying now, he cannot let them go until the time when his term will officially come to an end. Number three is the government resources. Let me tell you one thing for sure. And this is why I think the deputy president is very better with President Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, these guys worked so hard for the government and they delivered. So President Uhuru Kenyatta enjoyed government machinery to secure his second term. In his mind, the deputy president had figured out that nothing was going to stop him from becoming the president as long as he enjoyed the government resources. Government resources means that if the deputy president wants to go to Mombasa today, he would go to Mombasa, find a residence there already ready for him. Remember, he even furnished some building there for the office of the deputy president. He wanted to set up a campaign center there. He wanted another one in Kakamega so that can be his campaign center. The deputy president wanted another residence in Nyeri as his campaign center for that region. I'm told even in Northeastern, he had identified an office to be turned into a residence so that whenever he's there, his activities were going to be there. So the truth of the matter is that most of those facilities were going to be run by taxpayers' money. Today, if the deputy president hires a chopper Who pays for that chopper? It's you and me. If you were not in government, he would pay from his pocket. The convoy the deputy president travels with, that public address system, the 4x4 vehicles, the fuel, the personnel in those vehicles, all of them paid for by the government. So if the DP were to be outside the government, it means he'd be using his resources. And that would really hurt him. And that's actually the reason why the deputy president is bitter. Currently, he's not enjoying most of those things because the government has reduced a bit of the allocation and they've put a lot of measures, like the way he used to travel with, I think, his communications team. And anytime they claimed allowances, they were asked, why would you travel 20 people just to attend a function by the deputy president? So the truth of the matter is that the government resources is the main reason why he can't really resign. Number 4, in my view, resigning would mean that the deputy president has surrendered. Robert Greene always advises us that sometimes you use surrender tactics to disarm the opponents, but only where it's applicable. For the deputy president, resigning would be counterproductive. It would be interpreted to mean that he has actually surrendered to the president. He has been forced to surrender, rather than when he was surrendering at his own terms. And I think number 4 is probably, or number 5 is probably the timing. Ruto understands politics, and politics is about timing. If you get timing right, then you are okay. If you get timing wrong, then you are wrong. So the deputy president has figured out that if he were to be forced to resign, then that will not be on his terms. The timing for resigning was not that time. Maybe now the deputy president can resign. Maybe now, if I were him, I'll time, like when Uhuru will be holding the NDC, that's the day I will resign, so that we have 2 news. And lastly, the truth of the matter is that William Ruto formed this government with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And because he formed it, he feels that is part and parcel of this government. And therefore, he cannot leave it to any other person. So he must fight from within. So because of those reasons, the deputy president is not going to resign. And by the way, there's something else I forgot. Around 2020, around January, when these issues of forcing Ruto began, the first thing the intelligence did was to release that photo, that letter, which Raila Odinga wrote in 1965 when he resigned from government. In that letter, Jaramogi resigned because, according to him, he was feeling that he should not be earning money for doing nothing. And for Ruto, that doesn't matter. And I remember the only other person who has resigned in this country, I think, was Raila Odinga, or maybe Josephat Murumbi, the former vice president. It's very difficult for politicians to actually resign. So I don't know what you think, but Ruto is not going to resign. He's going to stay until the new government is formed. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.